Speaking of in the works, this guy's career is in the works. It's taken off right now. There's a lot going on here.
Future NHL coach.
Yeah, there you go. So why don't we bring him in now? Our success starts here. Alumni interview. Technically, this is an alumni interview, but there's a lot going on right now with this guy, Carter Hansen. Carter, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
So I think the big question, we can talk about Humboldt. We can talk about your alumni, your stint with Melville and Melfort back in the day. But why don't we start with the Western All-Star Challenge and the Team Canada West coaching staff stuff. How is that all going? And, that must have been a pretty cool phone call to get when they asked you to be a part of it all.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a big opportunity for me to get to go back again as a video coach this year. I know usually they try to give you a gap in between years of when you do it, but I'm always happy to go back and represent my country. Especially had a good turnout last year. I know I probably wasn't the best middle part of the tournament, but finish off with bronze is definitely always something nice you can't take that away from you. I know all those players, is that something you get to take home and you keep for the rest of your life. So I'm definitely excited to go back for the opportunity again on that. But things are going good. We're still, as coaches, we're still meeting, making plans, getting system stuff ready for when we do get to Quebec, because it's a quick tournament style, and you got to be ready to go once you get there. So we're just behind the scenes doing planning, stuff like that, and keeping busy as December kind of creeps up on us here.
Well, the one thing I wanted to talk about that Clark didn't mention in that whole layout of things is that, you're a relatively new dad, Carter. How's parenting, and how has that, impacted your perspective on life and coaching as well?
Yeah, thanks, Newsy. Being a dad's been absolutely phenomenal, right? I got my little girl, Ellie. She's turning 2 here in January. It's been an eye opener, right? You think you're busy, you think you're tired, and then you become a dad, and your whole world is flipped upside down, right? So it's been fantastic. Just having my wife, Bobby Joe, and Ellie, they come to pretty much every game at home here, so it's been quite the experience. Becoming a dad, obviously life's a little bit more busy, but a little bit more planning into that and a couple more cups of coffee, and we can get it all done at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's talk about the home games, the Humboldt Broncos. I guess not just the home games, the whole season as a whole. Red hot right now in the regular season with 7 straight wins, and basically, very much in first place for a while, and then Kindersley just snuck by you. But it seems like a lot's going right so far, Carter. So what's been going right for Humboldt so far this year?
That's a great question. I think me and Brayden are even asking ourselves that sometimes. You like to try to take a lot of credit as a coach, but at the end of the day, those are the guys on the ice making the plays and putting the puck in the net. So I think we just have a really good group this year that just wants to learn, wants to get better each and every day. And they're just taking everything me and Brayden have kind of given them and just running with it, right? I think this year we got a team that plays a lot faster. Has a lot more, plays being made, not so much north-south, trying to grind you down and beat the puck into a square and beat it into the net as well. So I think we're making a little bit more plays that way, playing a little bit with more speed this year. And I know we had a little bit of a rough patch in the middle. We're almost the team of swings. Right, we won 6 in a row, lost 4 out of 5. Now we won 7 in a row. I think it's more of that consistency of execution and putting it all together night in and night out. And that's the issue of not the issue, I guess, but that's the joy of junior hockey, that it's never going to be perfect. Just these guys are executing at a higher percentage than we definitely were last year, and it's been working great for us so far.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Carter, I got to ask you, obviously you spent, I guess, most of your junior career in the Western Hockey League, but, you spent the end of it in the SJHL, as you mentioned there with Melville, and with, the coach that you have there now as your head coach for Canada West, there, Trevor Blevins. I guess just talk about, both in Melville and in Melfort, how you feel like those opportunities and those communities kind of helped shape you into the man you are. Obviously played at the U of R and into senior and into coaching in life beyond, but how did playing in the SJ mold you into the man you are?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, Nugs. I don't know if too many people have asked me that one. So I guess to explain my story a little bit for people that don't know, I was actually supposed to coach at 20. I was supposed to be an assistant coach with the Regina Pats at 20. Wasn't even going to play hockey that year. That ended up obviously not working out. And I remember Jamie Fiesel ended up calling me, giving me an opportunity there in Melville to go play. Definitely him and Hot a little bit, but I actually had Fiesel as my U17 coach as well. So I had a little bit of experience with him in Team Canada beforehand. So that's what kind of brought me to the SJ. Obviously didn't have a great start there in Melville, but got lucky enough to be traded up to Melfort there. Got to have Trevor Blevins as my head coach, and I guess the rest is, as you would call it, history there. But got traded there to Melfort, to a really good team. Didn't lose a whole heck of a lot at home there, and ended up taking a championship home at the end of the day. So it ended up being a blessing in disguise there that I didn't become a coach at 20. Got to play one more year, got a championship out of it. And I really feel like that 20-year-old year kind of turned a lot for me, that I got to come back eventually as a coach after a couple of years at U of R. Obviously got my first gig there with Scott Barney and the Humboldt Broncos, and still here today. So it's that 20-year-old year was a big year for me in my hockey, I guess, world, hockey development, turning into a coach. So that 20-year-old year ended up being a really big year for me, Nukesy, that I'm sure lots of people don't know. I was really close to not even playing that year.
That's a super cool story. And I was in Estevan at the time, Carter, when you got to Melville. And so I got the opportunity a few times to meet Jamie Fiesel. And yeah, exactly. That's a
legendary.
He's legendary. For those who don't know Jamie, can you paint a picture maybe for us of your interactions with him? And you were only there for several months, but for him to convince you to come and then to play with him and under him for a while, that must have been quite the experience, because he was only there, like he was done there pretty soon after you were gone. So that was near the end of his career, but boy, I've heard some stories of his, and it sounds like he was quite the guy.
Yeah, with Jamie there, he was a guy that brought energy each and every day. He always had some sort of story from his playing career, or just he had stories out the yin yang that he would bring up all the time. Sometimes he'd be throwing on the old Jofa helmet, or he would have the fake hair on top, or even the one time he played an old commercial of him in Germany that he was in when he was a player. So he always came to the rink with a ton of energy. Great positive energy anyway. So he's and I guess the best way to sum up Jamie Fiesel is if you guys haven't seen, you got to go see his major blow up he had doing the blind man walk across the ice there. His favorite thing when I first met him after that incident, he always said he's always going to be mad that he was number 2 on the top 10 TSN list, that he didn't get number 1. So that's a good way to sum him up, that he's always light about his own stuff too.
Yeah, that was I think I've also seen that German commercial, because I'm pretty sure it was a main staple every time at the league marketing meetings in Nipawin. Anytime he would start talking, one of the other coaches would say, "Hey, Jamie, you should show everybody that German commercial you were in." And it's pretty impressive. But yeah, pretty impressive. Let's talk about the transition from your junior hockey career. You played a couple years at the U of R. So what was the transition like for you, Carter, going from major junior, you thought maybe your playing career was done, and then jumping back in for a few more years? So what was that transition like for you into the U Sports category?
Yeah, I know U of R was always something I was looking at doing, like going to play there, right? Especially playing in the Western League there. I kind of had an idea by that 18, 19-year-old year that maybe the NHL wasn't going to be my life. So, like, obviously, you got to start planning after that. So, school has always been a huge part for me. Like, my family was a big pusher, and you got to go to school just in case this hockey thing doesn't work out. So, I felt like I knew I was going to the U of R like pretty well, like early on in my career, like 18, 19, like even if I didn't play at that 20-year-old year, I was going to find a way to go play at 20 just to get my education and play a little bit of hockey as well. But the transition was a little bit odd, I guess. Like, knowing that I wasn't maybe going to play at 20, you never really know, like life can take you different ways very fast in 1 year even. So the plan was always for me to go to U of R. Just wasn't sure if I was going to be a hockey player doing it at the same time there. So it was definitely a lot of questions to be answered there in that summer between 19 and 20. But that's what we could try to tell our guys too, is that the game of hockey is fantastic, but life really hits you when you hit 21. So you got to be ready for that 21-year-old year, because all of a sudden it's not just all about hockey.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, for sure. But I do have to ask you, I'll give you a couple of options of names, and I want you to give me, if you can think of a great story involving one of these 3 names, I would appreciate it. So not to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot. Obviously, Clark and I are big Leaf fans, so you played with Morgan Riley. And Braden Point, of course, has terrorized the Leafs, but you played with Braden Point. And Chandler Stevenson, who's, of course, a bit of a legend here in Saskatchewan. So give us a story from one of those 3 sort of NHL good players.
Oh, I got some good ones on all of them. Probably the one I know I can tell. I'll tell about Chandler Stevenson.
Okay.
More of just him as a player, who he is as a person.
Sure.
He was probably one of the more frustrating guys because he was so good, but it was so good when he wanted to be. And like he was one of those guys that you'd be playing in a game, hard fought game. I'm a guy just trying to grind out, get my handful of minutes wherever it was, whether it's forward or defense. It'll be a 2-1 hockey game, and sitting in the middle of the bench, Chandler looks over. Should we go tie this one up? Well, I don't know, Chandler. I know I'm not going to do it, but I would love it if you would do it. Next shift would hop over the boards, back of the net. It's a tie game. Like, man, you just make this look way too easy. So he was he was that guy that he could turn it on when he really wanted to. And I think for people at home, like you look at those first couple of years in Washington of him trying to figure it out. Then all of a sudden he gets to Vegas, and you can really tell that's when he kind of turned it on. That's why he was such a big part of them making a Stanley Cup run there when he was with the Vegas Golden Knights. But yeah, definitely a legendary player in junior. He was a man amongst boys out there for sure.
Yeah, and it turned into $30-some-odd million for him too. So
I think all three of those guys are doing okay.
Yeah,
they're all doing more than fine. Those guys,
not too bad guys. A few bad guys to have in your Rolodex for sure for summer vacations or lake trips or anything like that. Yeah. But Carter, you got a big weekend coming up here up in the Whitney Forum with the Flin Flon Bombers. What's the message right now in the locker room and in practice as you head into a pretty big weekend?
Yeah, for sure. Especially, we've had our long break here now. I know a couple of teams like Weyburn, I think Melfort, and also Flin Flon might have had a bit of a break here too recently. But just looking at these other teams, we got to be ready coming back out of our break, right? I know it's not a friendly environment going up there to the Whitney Forum for anyone that has experienced it. So this week has been honestly a lot of battle, a lot of grit kind of drills, practice sort of deal. Just trying to get our guys ready because if you're not ready to get hit and be bombarded those first 10 minutes in Flin Flon, it's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long weekend. So that's kind of been our emphasis this week, is just kind of getting back into the battle of things. Like have your teammates be the first one that hits you in practice hard, instead of it being that Friday night 5 minutes into the first period and also you're back on your heels. And because I think anyone that's been in Flin Flon over these years, you know how fast it can turn. You can be on your heels, and you look up at the score clock and it's 5-0 with 30 shots on you in the first 10 minutes. Like, it happens. So that's been the big emphasis for us this week is just getting ready physically for the battle that we're going into, and then just get more of that execution back right after a few days. Guys kind of lose it a little bit. So it's been a good week of practice here, but it's going to be a big test for us, these 2 games up in Flon.
Yeah, always fun. I always remember Rory always being like, we always play Flin Flon in the playoffs. I'm so tired of it. But, obviously it's always good battles with you guys there. And obviously Daz's performance last year is one that I'll never forget when you guys took them on. So, pretty cool. Okay, last one from me, Hanny. I know I could ask you a billion more questions, but we don't have time for that. But we talk about sort of 4 sort of SJHL coach legends. Obviously most 3 of the 4 are still active, so weird to call them legends, but I think they will be when it all is said and done. And you've coached with and under and played for one of them as well, over your time. That's of course Mike Reagan, who you coached with Canada West last year. Trevor Blevins, who you played for and will coach with Canada West. You coached, with Scott Barney, of course, is at the Sudbury Wolves now, of course, but did an incredible job with the Broncos. You had a front row seat for that. And of course, now Braden Klamosko, who's of course a legend and just wins and wins and wins. So as quick as you can, take me through all 4 of those guys and maybe think about one quick thing that you can take from all 4 of those guys that you try to apply to your coaching game right now.
Yeah, that's a good one, Nukes. I will try to be quick, because I will say lots of the stuff seems to overlap with a lot of these guys of why they're so successful in this league. But you deal with a guy like Mike Reagan. For me with him, it's the details in the game and how he doesn't let that stuff slide, right? Yeah. I think he's been very consistent. I would say you could say the same thing about Trevor Blevins, is that the systems are probably still the same thing that since when I played with Blevs and against Rags too, is that there's very finite details in the game that they do not let slide with their players, and I think that's why they're so consistently good all the time. So I would say that's definitely more Mike's side there, is like he's very detailed, but very holding guys to that standard. With Trevor, he's a guy that is very much the same way. Like, he likes his style and he demands that style, and that's the only style that will really fly there. But I still feel like he puts a lot of the onus into the players' hands as well. that as much as he can come in and bark and yell at you in between periods, it's still on the guys at the end of the day to go do it, and he gives you all the confidence in the world to go do that. With Scott Barney, I feel like obviously being the player that he was so good on the offensive side of the puck that he was just all about attack, attack, attack. He's a guy that I'm glad I started with him because he taught me how to work as a coach. Like it was constantly every day I'm doing something to get myself better or players better. So I feel like he was really good for me off the start. And now you get a guy like Braden Klamosko that I'm working with. But like you said, Nugsy, all he does is win, right? And now it's like, how do I take what he does and put it into my own? And it's I think he's given me a lot of that leeway of how to learn and how to find out who I am as a coach to go do it myself later on as a head coach. I feel like he's given me that freedom to do that. So I felt like it was a very good like 1-2 punch for me as a coach myself, is learn how to put in the work first. Now learn how you want to take that yourself and turn yourself into a head coach one day as well. So like you said, Nugsy, I've worked with 4 legends in this league, been very lucky that way, and couldn't have asked for a better foursome to work for so far.
Yeah, it's a pretty good track record, I would say, and you're on your way yourself, Carter. So really appreciate the time, and we'll let you go because I know you got a big old bus trip to get ready for. So we'll let you go for that, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome, thanks guys. Appreciate having me on here. Keep doing your thing every week. There, it's awesome to tune in and find out what's going on in the SJ.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Carter Hansen. Again, a great guy, and long career in the WHL, turned into a pretty cool finish to his junior hockey career, like you said, in Melville and Melfort, and then turned it into a really cool post playing days career as well, and he's just getting started.